The night was quiet in the small town on Earth where Ethan Ward lived. He was an engineer by trade, the kind of man who fixed things most people thought were beyond repair. His workshop was filled with broken machines, old tools, and half-finished projects. It wasn't glamorous, but Ethan liked the peace it gave him. That peace ended when a ship, sleek and silver, came down in the nearby forest. Ethan saw the light cut across the sky and thought it was a meteor at first. But meteors didn't land gently. They didn't glow with strange symbols on their hulls. Curiosity got the better of him. He grabbed a flashlight and hiked into the trees. The forest was silent, almost too silent, as he drew near. When he reached the clearing, his eyes widened. A ramp lowered from the ship, and a tall, elegant figure stepped out. She wore silver and blue garments that shimmered like starlight. Her skin had a faint glow, her hair long and pale, and her eyes seemed like pools of shining violet. She was not human, that much was clear. "Ethan Ward," the figure spoke softly, her voice trembling. "I have come for you." Ethan froze. He had no idea how she knew his name. He held the flashlight tighter. "You know me? Who are you?" She bowed, a gesture both formal and desperate. "I am Princess Lysera of the Veyari Crown. By galactic law, I must ask you something no one else on this world has ever heard." Ethan blinked. A princess? Galactic law? It all sounded like something out of one of those science fiction shows he used to watch. He almost laughed, but her eyes were too serious, too full of fear. "What do you want from me?" he asked carefully. Lysera stepped closer, her hands trembling slightly as she clasped them together. "Please, human, marry me. If you do not, I will lose my crown, my kingdom, and everything my people depend on. By the ancient laws of the Council, my throne can only be secured if I take a human as my bonded partner." Ethan's mouth fell open. Of all the things she could have said, this was the last he expected. "Marry you? You've got the wrong guy. I'm just a mechanic." Her face showed no amusement. "No, Ethan Ward. You are not just a mechanic. You are a human. And humans are the only ones who can fulfill the condition written into the law. If I cannot show I have formed a bond with your kind, then my rivals will strip me of my birthright. My people will suffer under their rule." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. It didn't make sense. "Why humans? Out of all the species in the galaxy, why us?" Lysera's voice softened, though her eyes still burned with urgency. "Because the Council feared power kept only in bloodlines. They chose humans as the test, unpredictable, adaptable, and known across the stars for survival against impossible odds. To bond with a human is proof of worthiness to rule. That is what the law says." Ethan didn't know what to say. He felt like he was standing in the middle of a dream he couldn't wake from. His quiet life had just been shattered by a princess, asking for his hand. "Look, princess," he said slowly. "Even if what you're saying is true, why me? There are billions of humans on this planet, why not someone else?" Lysera's gaze held his, steady and determined. "Because you already proved yourself, Ethan Ward. You repaired the stranded scout vessel that fell here 2 years ago. You think no one noticed? My people remember, without you, that crew would have perished. You did not fear the unknown. You helped them without asking for reward. That is why I came to you." Ethan remembered that night. He had stumbled upon a strange craft with injured beings inside. He never spoke of it afterward, thinking maybe he had imagined it. But no, it was real. And now the past had come back, standing in front of him in the form of a desperate princess. Lysera stepped closer, her voice breaking now. "Please, Ethan, if I return without you, they will declare me unfit. My enemies will rise. The kingdom will fall into their hands, and they will bring war to the stars. I do not ask for love. I only ask for a chance. Be my partner, even if only in name, until the law is fulfilled." Ethan looked at her, really looked. Beneath the glowing skin and royal grace, she wasn't just some untouchable figure. She was afraid. She was carrying a burden far greater than anyone should bear. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. This is insane. Me, a royal consort? I fix machines, not governments. Lysira's lips curved in a faint, desperate smile. Then perhaps that is what makes you perfect. Machines, kingdoms, they are not so different. Both break. Both need someone willing to repair them. For a long moment, the forest was silent except for the hum of her ship behind them. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. This was beyond anything he ever imagined for his life. But deep down, he felt the weight of her plea. Finally, he spoke. I don't know if I can do this, but I can't stand by if what you're saying is true. I'll hear you out, Princess, I'll listen. But don't expect me to agree so easily. Lysira's eyes glimmered with hope. She bowed her head once more. That is all I ask, Ethan Ward. To listen. And perhaps to stand with me. As he followed her toward the ship, Ethan knew his life had just changed forever. The quiet workshop, the simple days, the broken machines waiting on his table, all of it was behind him now. Ahead lay the stars, a desperate princess, and a choice that might decide the fate of a kingdom. And for the first time in his life, Ethan Ward felt the weight of destiny pressing upon his shoulders. The hum of the alien ship echoed softly as Ethan Ward sat in one of its smooth silver chairs. The walls around him glowed faintly with shifting light, almost alive. He had never imagined himself stepping into something like this, yet here he was, aboard a vessel that had crossed the stars. Princess Lysira sat across from him, her posture still regal but her eyes heavy with worry. She studied him as though every second mattered. Finally, she spoke. You deserve to understand why I asked what I asked, she said gently. Ethan leaned back, crossing his arms. Yeah, that would be nice. Start with this law you keep talking about. Why does a galactic princess need a human husband to keep her throne? Lysira's violet eyes lowered, as if recalling old lessons. The galactic law was made long ago, when the Council of Crowns was first formed. In those days, the galaxy was full of wars between royal bloodlines. Civilizations collapsed because power was passed only through narrow families. To end the bloodshed, the council made a rule. Heirs must prove their right to rule by forming a bond with someone outside their bloodline. It was a test of humility, strength, and unity. Ethan frowned. That explains marrying outside the royal circle. But why humans? Why not some other alien species? Lysira's voice softened. Because humans are different. The council saw your kind as the ultimate test. You are unpredictable, resilient, and unlike any species they knew. You adapt to every environment. You survive where others fall. Some even call humans death-worlders because your planet shapes you in ways most species cannot endure. To bond with a human is proof that one is worthy to lead. That is why the law demands it. Ethan let out a slow breath, shaking his head. So let me get this straight. Out of billions of humans on Earth, you chose me, because I once fixed a ship. Her lips curved faintly, not quite a smile. Not just that. You helped without fear, without demand for power or reward. That is what my people remember. And now I need you more than ever. Silence filled the ship for a moment. Ethan felt the weight of her words pressing down on him. It was too much to take in. He was just one man from a small town, and now this alien princess was telling him he was the key to her crown. Before he could answer, the ship's walls flickered with light. A voice, mechanical yet clear, echoed through the chamber. Incoming signal from the council chamber. Shall I connect? Lysira's expression hardened. Ignore it, she ordered quickly. The lights dimmed again, but Ethan noticed her hands, trembling on her lap. They know you're here, Ethan guessed. Lysira nodded. My rivals waste no time. They watch every step I take. Some would prefer I never return at all. Ethan leaned forward. You're saying they'll come after you? Here? On Earth? Her gaze locked with his. Not just me. They may target you as well. To them, you are the obstacle. If I cannot bring you, I cannot claim the throne. If they remove you, they win. The thought chilled Ethan. He wasn't used to being in danger, at least not on this scale. He had faced accidents, broken machines, the occasional storm, but assassins from another world? That was beyond anything he could imagine. Why don't you just say no to the throne? Ethan asked carefully. Walk away from all this? If it's so dangerous, why not let someone else take it? Lysera's face hardened, though her voice carried sorrow. Because my rivals are not just greedy, they are cruel. If they rule, they will turn my kingdom into a weapon. They will bring war across the stars and countless worlds will burn. My people will suffer. I cannot abandon them, Ethan. I must fight for them, even if it means begging a stranger from Earth. Ethan rubbed his forehead, feeling the weight of her words. He saw now that this wasn't just about her crown, it was about lives, millions, maybe billions. She wasn't pleading for herself alone. You really believe I can make that difference? He asked softly. Lysera's eyes shone with quiet determination. I do. Because you are human. And because humans change the fate of everything they touch. Her words hung in the air like a promise. Ethan didn't know if he believed them, but a part of him couldn't ignore the sincerity in her voice. Before he could respond, the ship shook slightly, a faint alarm ringing through the walls. The ship glided silently through space, leaving Earth behind as stars streaked past like silver ribbons. Ethan Ward could hardly believe where he was. Just a few hours ago, he had been in his small workshop, repairing engines and toasters, and now he was en route to the Galactic capital with a princess. Lysera stood at the front of the ship, hands resting lightly on the railing. Her eyes were focused ahead, her posture regal, but there was tension in her shoulders. She did not speak at first, letting Ethan adjust to the strange silence of the ship's corridors. After a long moment, she said softly, You must understand, Ethan. The Galactic capital is not like Earth. It is a place of rules, tradition, and power. Every move is watched. Every word is judged. A human here will draw attention. Ethan chuckled nervously. I think I noticed that already. I'm not exactly built for royal courts. Lysera's eyes met his, violet and steady. That is precisely why you are perfect. Your kind is not bound by these rules. You are unpredictable. The Council does not expect humans to follow their ways. That unpredictability can be strength. Ethan shook his head, running a hand through his hair. I hope you're right. I have no idea what I'm doing here. One wrong move and... what? I end up as space dust? Lysera's lips curved in a small smile. Not space dust, but perhaps the subject of rumors. That is all. The journey seemed to stretch endlessly. Ethan spent his time observing the interior of the ship, which seemed alive. Panels shifted colors. Soft lights followed his movement and gentle humming filled the air. It was beautiful and strange, like a living machine. Finally, the ship slowed, approaching a vast structure that seemed to float in the void. Towers of crystal-like metal stretched toward the stars, and bridges of light connected floating platforms. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. The Galactic capital was more magnificent than he imagined. Lysera guided him toward a landing platform. Once we land, you must be prepared, she said. The Council will be curious. They will not hide their surprise that I brought a human. Some may mock you, some may test you. You must not falter. Ethan swallowed. Test me? Like combat? Tests or... Lysera shook her head. Tests of wisdom, courage, and unity. They may challenge your patience, your judgment, and your loyalty. Remember, you are here to prove the bond, to show that humans are capable of more than the Council expects. Ethan took a deep breath. All right, I'll try not to embarrass us. The ship touched down softly, and the ramp extended. As they stepped onto the platform, Ethan's eyes widened. Delegates from countless worlds had gathered. Tall beings, with shimmering wings, armored exoskeletons, and multiple limbs walked with the grace of centuries-old tradition. They whispered among themselves, some turning to stare at the human who had come with the princess. Lysera's hand rested lightly on Ethan's arm. Stay close. Remember, confidence is key. Even if you feel out of place, act as if you belong. The Council will respect that. They walked toward the main chamber. As they entered, a hush fell over the room. The council members sat on high platforms, faces both curious and judgmental. At the center was a being who seemed older than the stars themselves, its eyes glowing faintly as it observed Ethan. Princess Lysera, the oldest council member, intoned, "You have arrived with a human. Explain." Lysera stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "Esteemed members of the council, I present Ethan Ward, a human of Earth. By law, my bond with a human proves my worthiness to lead the Veyari crown. He has chosen to accompany me, showing courage, trust, and the spirit of our bond." Whispers filled the chamber. Some members leaned forward, intrigued. Others exchanged skeptical glances. A tall, armored figure with 3 arms and green eyes spoke sharply. "You bring a primitive species into this chamber? A human? Do you truly expect us to accept this?" Ethan squared his shoulders, surprising himself with the steadiness in his voice. "I'm not here to beg for your approval. I'm here to stand with Princess Lysera. If that's not enough, then perhaps you underestimate what humans can do." The room fell silent. Murmurs rose among the council members. Never before had a human spoken so boldly in the capital. The princess's rival shifted uneasily. Lysera's lips curved in quiet pride. "He is more than what you perceive. He has faced challenges that few in this chamber could survive. That is why he is here." One council member, a being with translucent skin and eyes that reflected stars, leaned forward. "Then let the trials begin. If this human is to prove his bond, he must undergo the tests of unity and courage." Ethan blinked. "Tests? Like now?" Lysera nodded. "Yes, these trials are designed to see how well bonded partners can act together, think together, and protect one another. You will not face them alone, but you must act as one, even under pressure." The first trial began immediately. Ethan and Lysera were placed in a simulated environment designed to mimic a collapsing world. Strange creatures emerged from shadows, walls shifted, and paths disappeared without warning. The air hummed with tension and lights flickered as if the entire simulation was alive. Ethan instinctively took Lysera's hand. "Stay close," he whispered. She nodded, trust and relief visible in her eyes. "We can do this, Ethan. Together." They moved through the simulation, Ethan relying on instinct and quick thinking while Lysera used her knowledge of strategy and diplomacy. Every time a trap appeared, Ethan found a way to counter it, using his human ingenuity. Every obstacle tested their cooperation, forcing them to communicate and act as one. The council observed silently, their eyes wide with amazement. A human surviving the trials, keeping pace with a royal princess, was unprecedented. Whispers filled the chamber. "Remarkable. Unusual. Impossible." Hours passed, and finally the simulation ended. Ethan and Lysera stood, breathless but victorious. Ethan looked at Lysera, a small grin forming. "Well, that wasn't so bad." Lysera's smile was genuine, a mixture of relief and pride. "You exceeded my expectations, and perhaps the council's as well." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "If this is what it takes to survive court politics, I might survive anything." Lysera laughed softly. "You already have, Ethan. You've survived where many others would have failed. That is why you are extraordinary. That is why we are extraordinary together." As they left the simulation chamber, Ethan realized something he hadn't thought before. The galaxy was vast, strange, and dangerous, but for the first time, he felt that he belonged, not because he was human, not because he was extraordinary, but because he had a purpose, to stand beside a princess and face the stars together. And for Ethan Ward, that was enough to make him believe in the impossible. The celebrations in the Galactic capital were short-lived. As Ethan Ward and Princess Lysera walked through the corridors of the council palace, whispers followed them like shadows. The council members were impressed by Ethan's performance in the trials, but not all were pleased. Some saw him as a threat. Some saw Lysera's choice as a weakness. Lysera's violet eyes scanned the hall carefully. "We are not yet safe, Ethan," she said quietly. "There are those who will try to destroy us even here. Kalor will not give up easily." Ethan frowned. "Kalor, that's your cousin, right? The one who wants your crown?" Lysera nodded. "Yes, he has allies among the council. They will do whatever it takes to remove you and me. We must be vigilant." The warning proved true almost immediately. As they passed the council library, a group of robed figures stepped from the shadows. Their eyes glowed faintly, and their hands flickered with strange energy. One of them stepped forward, bowing mockingly. "Princess Lysera," he said, voice smooth but dangerous. "I see you have chosen an earthling. How quaint. But can he survive what is to come?" Ethan stepped forward instinctively. "I don't need your permission to survive. If you want to fight, you'll get more than you expect." Lysera placed a gentle hand on his arm, stopping him. "No, Ethan. Let me handle this." Her eyes flashed with authority, and her voice rang clearly. "You will not threaten my companion. Leave this hall at once." The robed figures hesitated, then bowed stiffly before disappearing into the shadows. But the encounter left Ethan uneasy. The council was a place of rules and power, yes, but also of secrets and hidden dangers. Every ally could be a traitor, every gesture a trap. That night, Lysera and Ethan returned to their chambers. Ethan studied the room, which overlooked the glowing capital. It was beautiful, serene, but the calm felt fragile. "Are they going to keep attacking us?" Ethan asked. Lysera sighed. "Kalor will try everything. He has already spread rumors about you. He claims that humans are unworthy, unpredictable, and dangerous. Some council members believe him. If he convinces enough of them, they may declare me unfit to rule." Ethan frowned. "Then we can't wait. We have to act before he does something worse." Lysera nodded. "Yes, but we must be careful. Kalor is clever. He will try to turn allies against us. He may even attempt more direct methods." Ethan's stomach tightened. "You mean assassination?" Lysera's voice was quiet but firm. "Yes, if he cannot win by law or politics, he will try to remove the threat by force. That is why we must trust each other completely. That is why I need you, Ethan." The human swallowed hard. He had never faced something like this before, yet he felt a strange determination growing inside him. He had already survived strange ships, alien worlds, and impossible trials. This was just another challenge. The next day they attend. The council chambers were quiet now, but the tension from the previous day still lingered like a shadow. Ethan Ward stood beside Princess Lysera, watching as holographic displays projected scenes from her kingdom. He could see cities, forests, and rivers all glowing faintly under the alien sun. Lysera's eyes were heavy with thought. "Ethan, there is something I must tell you," she said softly. "You have seen the law as a rule, a test. But there is more. A secret purpose behind it, one that few know." Ethan tilted his head. "A secret? What do you mean?" She took a deep breath, her violet eyes meeting his. "The law was created centuries ago after first contact with humans. The council watched, your species, studying how you survived impossible worlds, how you adapted, how you fought against the odds. Humans became known across the galaxy as proof that survival is not about power alone, but intelligence, courage, and ingenuity." Ethan blinked. "You mean they based the law on us?" Lysera nodded. "Yes. Humans were considered the ultimate example of resilience. The council decided that if a ruler could bond with a human, it showed they could lead with more than strength. They could lead with vision and adaptability. That is why I needed you." Ethan felt a strange mix of pride and disbelief. "So, all this time humans were secretly important to the galaxy?" Lysera smiled faintly. Not secret, but underestimated. Many species feared humans or dismissed us. Yet your kind survived and thrived where others failed. That legacy. Now you are part of it, Ethan. He looked out the chamber window, the stars stretching endlessly beyond. So my role isn't just about marriage or loyalty, it's about, what? Showing that humans matter? Lysera's hand brushed his arm. More than that, you are living proof that humans can shape the future of the galaxy. That is why Kaelor fears you. He knows that if you and I succeed, it will change everything. Ethan swallowed, feeling the weight of her words. This wasn't just a personal test. It wasn't just about Lysera's crown. This was about proving that humans could influence the fate of entire civilizations. Then we need a plan, Ethan said, determination sharpening his voice. Kaelor won't give up. He'll try something desperate. We can't just wait for him to strike. Lysera nodded. You are right. That is why we must uncover the secrets he hides. There are records, hidden archives that reveal his plots. If we can expose him, the council will have no choice but to acknowledge the truth. They moved through the palace corridors, Ethan feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had never imagined himself exploring alien archives, deciphering ancient symbols and glowing texts. But with Lysera by his side, he felt capable. Hours passed as they sifted through data crystals and digital logs. Finally, they found what they sought, a record of Kaelor's schemes. It revealed alliances with rogue factions, plans to manipulate the council, and attempts to remove any challengers by force. This is it, Lysera whispered. Proof of his betrayal. If we bring this to the council, they cannot ignore it. Ethan nodded. Then we expose him, but we also need to show them the truth about humans. That's part of your legacy, and mine now. Lysera's eyes softened. Ethan, you are more than an ally. You are part of the HFY story. The council must see that your courage, your skill, and your humanity are reasons to trust us together. The next day, they returned to the council chamber. Delegates whispered as Ethan walked beside Lysera, their presence commanding attention. Kaelor sat on his platform, his expression a mask of calm, but his eyes betrayed unease. Princess Lysera, Kaelor said, voice cold. Have you discovered anything yet? Or do you bring only a human to boast? Lysera's violet eyes were steady. We have discovered the truth, Kaelor. Your attempts to manipulate the council, your schemes against my crown, they are all recorded. A crystal display lit up, projecting images and texts. Council members leaned forward, their eyes widening as they watched evidence of Kaelor's betrayal. Murmurs grew into murmurs of shock and anger. Kaelor's hands clenched. This is false, he shouted. Ethan stepped forward, voice strong. It's not false. I don't know your history, Kaelor, but I know what humans do. We don't lie to save power. And we don't run from challenges we face. You underestimated us. And you underestimated Lysera. The chamber was silent. Even the oldest council members exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Then one of them spoke, voice calm but firm. It appears that Kaelor's actions were indeed a threat to the stability of the HFY crown. This evidence cannot be ignored. Lysera's hand rested on Ethan's arm. It is done, she whispered. The council sees the truth. Kaelor stood, fury flashing in his eyes. You may have won this round, Lysera human, but the galaxy is vast. You cannot stop me forever. Ethan's jaw tightened. We don't need to stop you forever. We only need to survive long enough to show the council that truth matters more than fear. The council members nodded, their authority restored. Kaelor's schemes were exposed and his power diminished. The danger was not over, but the tide had turned. Lysera turned to Ethan, her expression soft but proud. You have proven yourself, not just as my partner, but as part of something greater. The legacy of humans, the courage, the ingenuity, the survival instinct, it matters. You've shown them all. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never imagined himself at the center of galactic history. And yet, here he was. He had faced trials, survived betrayal, and now stood recognized as part of a legacy far beyond Earth. Lysera smiled. The Council will now accept our bond, but Kalor will still seek revenge. We must prepare for his next move, and we must be ready to protect not just my crown, but the galaxy itself. Ethan nodded. Then we fight, together. For the first time he truly understood the meaning of Lysera's plea. This was not about crowns or titles or even laws. It was about standing for what is right, protecting the innocent, and proving that even one human could change the course of history. And as they left the council chambers side by side, Ethan felt the weight of destiny settle on his shoulders. The galaxy was watching, and humans, his people, were no longer distant observers. They were part of the story. The real test was not over, but for the first time Ethan felt ready. The morning sun of the galactic capital shone brightly over the crystal towers, reflecting light across the floating platforms. Princess Lysera stood at the balcony of the council palace, gazing out at the bustling city below. Her hand rested on Ethan Ward's arm, grounding her. Today was the day of the coronation, and the final challenge. Kalor had not given up. His followers had rallied for one last attempt to overthrow her. Rumors of rebellion, sabotage, and secret attacks had reached Lysera's ears. But she was not afraid. Not when Ethan stood beside her. "Are you ready?" she asked softly, her violet eyes meeting his. Ethan adjusted his jacket, trying to appear calm. "Ready as I'll ever be. Let's give Kalor a surprise he won't forget." Lysera smiled, a mixture of pride and relief. Together then, the corridors leading to the coronation hall were filled with delegates, citizens, and royal guards. The air buzzed with anticipation. Everyone knew that the council had seen Kalor's betrayal, but no one knew whether he would attempt one final disruption. As they entered the hall, a hush fell over the crowd. The ceiling stretched high and walls shimmered with crystal light. At the far end, Kalor stood, surrounded by his followers, his expression dark and determined. "You may have fooled the council," Kalor said, voice echoing, "but the throne will still be mine." Lysera's voice rang clearly through the hall. "Kalor, your schemes are over. The council knows the truth. Your power is gone. Today I claim my right as queen, with Ethan Ward by my side." Ethan stepped forward, standing firmly beside her. "And if you try anything, Kalor, you'll see why humans survive where others fail." Kalor's eyes flared. With a sharp gesture, his followers lunged forward, attempting to disrupt the ceremony. But the palace guards moved quickly, surrounding the attackers. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He noticed a group trying to breach the side entrance, aiming for the council's record chambers. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward them, dodging energy blasts and leaping over glowing barriers. Lysera followed, her own skills honed from years of royal training. Together, they moved like a single unit, human intuition and royal strategy, in perfect harmony. Ethan disarmed the attackers while Lysera used her authority to command the guards and protect the council. The hall erupted in chaos, but amidst it all, Ethan noticed Kalor attempting a final desperate strike. He had seized a glowing staff, a weapon of ancient power, and was moving toward Lysera with deadly intent. "Lysera!" Ethan shouted, intercepting Kalor just in time. Using a combination of quick thinking and sheer human strength, he managed to knock the staff aside. Kalor stumbled, furious as the guards restrained him. The hall fell silent once more. The council members, wide-eyed, nodded in approval. The threat had been neutralized and order restored. Lysera turned to Ethan, her face glowing with gratitude. "You've done it, Ethan. You've saved my crown. And my people." Ethan shook his head, a small smile forming. "We've done it." Together, the council leader stepped forward, raising his hand to quiet the room. "Today, we witness not only the crowning of Princess Lysera as Queen of the Viari Crown, but also the recognition of Ethan Ward, a human whose courage, loyalty, and ingenuity have proven invaluable. Let this bond symbolize